This is how you really get rid of homelessness. Alan Watts once said, and I'll paraphrase here, "You cannot talk someone out of their illusion, but you can walk with them to the edge of the world and back around where you started and let them realize themselves that the earth is indeed round." No matter how much we try, you cannot talk someone out of what they wholeheartedly believe. It's unfortunate, but most, if not all, of these people believe in something else other than themselves. As an attempt to find relief, without proper guidance or role models to show them a good path of working through their emotions and finding relief of their own, they instead turn to drugs or unnecessarily rebellistic behaviors as a cry to be accepted and appreciated. But I have a solution I want to propose. Unfortunately, laws, politics, and the city itself, as you could have guessed, doesn't give a damn. And even if they did, laws can only do so much, beckoning in an endless loop. You can't stop homelessness. I'm sorry, but whether or not it's on purpose, this monetary market and political system is built that way. Homelessness and most mental illnesses today are simply a byproduct of this system. And I must add here, not every homeless person does drugs, as there are different types of what you call homeless that I will list in another video. But when it comes to drug abuse itself, it's not a political issue, however, nor is it even an economic one. At the root, it is an emotional issue, and a traumatic one at that. And to be a little esoterically forgiving, it's just where we are in consciousness at this time. Unfortunately, these people have been subjected to emotional, physical, psychological, sexual, socioeconomic, and societal abuse, no matter how subtle or severe. What are you going to do? Put spikes everywhere? This is why most of them do drugs. It's that sort of thought. And speaking of drugs, as a potential real solution, I say, give it to them. Imagine a small city or a district we create from scratch. Let's call it District 1. And here at District 1, we have a central hub where they can get whatever drug they want. I'm thinking mostly opiates and amphetamines since those are the most addictive. Except here, it's the cleanest stuff you can get and the safest. And did I mention they dose you for free? Warning. Bear with me and please watch to the end because from this point forward, it's going to get a little challenging for some of your minds. This isn't going to be easy. Not only do they dose you respectively with drugs, but you are also housed and fed every day and for free. And just outside of the central hub, you have the residential area, the residential belt of that district, where there are small 3D printed dome homes for each one of them, and there's a plethora, each with their own small shower, comfy bed, kitchen, and living area, just enough room for one or two. Because you see, we all need access to the necessities of life, as life is naturally abundant. Otherwise, scarcity begins to breed madness. And if you think about it, our scarcity is self-imposed. It's self-created. After all, we are the only species on this planet that has to pay to live here. We have made everything abundant from Earth's resources to our technology and our very own intelligence, from food and water, from shelter to transportation, all of which are abundant to us as humans, but remain scarce, nearly on purpose. Because of our attachment to the dollar. Why do you think birds are some of the most happiest beings on Earth? They literally have everything available to them at almost any time of the day. If I had that much freedom, I'd be chirping all day myself. But in this system, we aren't as easily abundant, even though everything we need is literally all around us at all times of the day. But try grabbing an apple from the grocery store and walking out. But it gets even more interesting. In fact, there was an experiment with rats done by American psychologist Dr. Bruce Alexander in the 1970s, and it goes a little something like this. Rats were placed in a cage, all alone with no other rats, and the only thing in the cage that the rats were offered were 2 water bottles, one filled with plain water and the other with heroin or cocaine. The rats would repeatedly drink from the drug-laced bottles until they all overdosed and died. But Alexander wondered, is this about the drugs, or might it be related to the setting they were in? To test this, he put the rats in what he called rat parks, where they were among other rats and were free to roam around and play as they pleased. They had rat wheels and toys, tubes and tunnels, plenty of food and water. They socialized and even had sex. And they were also given access to the same bottles. Interestingly, the ones living in the rat park remarkably preferred the plain water. Even when they did drink from the drug-laced bottles, they did so intermittently, not obsessively, and never overdosed. The conclusion? A social community with abundant access to all of the necessities of life beat the power of drugs. And so in that, give them everything they need. Give them the drugs, but also give them the food, the water, the play, and the ability to roam around freely, and they thrive, drug-free. Or mostly drug-free. And I think eventually, as a hypothesis, they will fall out of their illusion and impulsions, the hypnotism of substance looping, to try to find the relief within the illusion, and instead find it within themselves. In fact, I've seen a little taste of that here in Venice Beach, California, at Bread and Roses, but on a very mild scale, where they serve meals every day at the same 3 times every morning, and the homeless eat for free. When I go there, I see that everyone sits politely together, mostly 3 at a table. Some are quiet, and others have full-on good conversations. Everyone is happy, eating, drinking their coffee, charging their phones, and there's dessert. There's no violence, and there are plenty of servers attending to the tables. And most, if not all of them, are extremely polite, saying thank you to the waiters and waitresses a lot more often and a lot more sincere than I've seen at the common restaurant. Denny's, Applebee's, anyone? Imagine what they could do if they all lived in District 1. Imagine their potential when they realize it. And imagine if there were a District 1 placed near all major cities. With good culture, where art was appreciated and encouraged, where good thought and meditation could be practiced, where a community of people just like them existed so they didn't feel alone, where other people volunteered their time and their gifts, where others donated technology and other resources, where they can get their dose, no questions asked, every day, until they themselves no longer wanted the drugs, in which case District 1 would also offer remedies and help with those wishing to stop the loop. But only if they wanted to. No pressure at all whatsoever. You ever try getting someone to quit anything they're addicted to? Be it drugs or a toxic relationship? Good luck. And once they finished, overcame themselves and exited their loop, they can either move on or stay within the district if they wish, perhaps as an elder of District 1. This could also possibly set an example for the rest of the world, showing us how a system could be without having to tip your mother at the dinner table after every meal. So, scarcity causes madness, and most mental illnesses are simply byproducts of a starved environment. And you know now that having abundant access to the necessities of life not only seems to offer a cure, but now you can see that same abundance available to the birds is found naturally all around us as well. And not just with resources and technology, but also our intelligence and togetherness as its own common shared resource. It's true. We are better together. Do you really think any law or politician can solve that? I don't think so.